All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krueg show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig in a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can check them out in Emeryville Wednesday through Sunday. They're open in Emeryville. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's talk about the good and the bad from 49er Minicamp. And if you know me, I'm not a believer in a lot of bad things happening at minicamp. Now, there could be some bad things, and there's some quarterbacks who make some bad throws, but it's practice. It's practice. And the only time you're really going to have bad is if you have talent that's really not up to par. But let's just go through it. There was far more positives than negatives. Let me start with the negatives, though. Okay, here are a few negatives from OTAs. We didn't get to see Nick Bosa practice at all. So he's been in Santa Clara, but he didn't work out. Now, is that a negative? It's a negative in that it would be nice to see him practice. But I can't really call it a negative because he didn't really do anything that, he didn't get hurt. You didn't lose him for the year, nothing like that. So that I would say is a negative. The fact that, or it's a positive that he didn't get hurt, but it's a negative that we didn't get to see him play. Okay. Other negatives from camp. Javon Kinlaw, who desperately needs to be good this year. He's in a huge make it or break it moment of his career. Hasn't been on the field the last 2 days. Where is he? Is he hurt? Is he have knee pain? Why is he not out there? To me, that's a major negative. Javon Kinlaw needs this camp. He needs to learn to play with leverage. He needs to learn to play at whatever weight he's going to play at. It looks like he's at a lighter weight. He hasn't been out the last couple of days. So that's a negative because Javon Kinlaw needs to get better. I'll say another negative is Robert Beal, is a guy they drafted on traits. There wasn't a lot of collegiate production there. He hasn't really stood out in any way in any of these workouts that I've seen. Daryl Johnson, who they just signed from as a defensive end, maybe a camp body, maybe not, but he jumped off sides today. You can't be doing that. I mean, seriously, you've been in the league a number of years. You can't be jumping off sides. Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw not practicing. I mean, is it a negative? I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't need to see them practice, but they're not out there. So it's not a positive. It's more of a negative. Darrell Luter, who I really liked in the rookie minicamp and I see great potential for, haven't seen him. Ambry Thomas, this is a big year for Ambry Thomas. To me, he's not standing out at all. He's not making plays. He's just a non-factor out there. So those are the negatives. And Miles Hartsfield, who comes over from Carolina with Steve Wilks, to me looks a little heavy for a defensive back. I always had hopes that Hartsfield would be a potential player for them. I don't know. Maybe if he shows up in better shape this summer, maybe. But to me, he looked awfully thick in the middle, and I'm used to seeing defensive backs in the NFL being very lean and very athletic, and Hartsfield just doesn't look like that to me. So those would be the negatives on defense. On offense, the negatives, Elijah Mitchell, who's had injuries the last couple of years. Where was Elijah Mitchell? He's not out there. So that's kind of disappointing. Mitchell is a guy that needs to stay healthy, and he can't get on the field. And it might just be one of those situations where he can't stay healthy. I'll say this as a negative. They don't have a lot of depth behind Colton McKivitz at right tackle. If McKivitz, for whatever reason, went down with an injury, I'm not seeing that swing tackle that I could really trust. Jalen Moore, is he the guy? I'm not sure. Matt Pryor looked a little out of shape and wasn't, to me, didn't look great. So that's what kind of stands out. Chris Conley has had a number of drops. Juwan Jennings is a game day player. He is not a practice player. Juwan Jennings had 2 or 3 drops today. So, and then Trey Lance and Sam Darnold in the team portion. Trey had an interception to Kerry Hyder that he just threw right to his breadbasket and Hyder ran it back for a pick six. It wouldn't have been a pick six in the game, but it's still an interception by a defensive lineman. So that's not good. And Sam Darnold struggled with some of his accuracy in the team portion. So those are the negatives. As you can see, there's not a lot of negatives there, but there are some. All right, let's get to the positives because there are a lot of positives. Let's start with Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan said that Brock Purdy's been throwing 3 times a week, and he's right on pace in his recovery from the elbow procedure, and they're still thinking that he's going to be ready for week 1. So that's definitely a huge positive for the 49ers. Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, I think, for the most part, have been really, really good. And Brandon Allen had a rough day today throwing the ball, but Brandon Allen's looked good. I mean, let's make no mistake about it. Brandon Allen's got some nice things to him. He's got a real simple delivery. He's got a little bit more arm strength than you think, a little bit more mobility than you think. He didn't have a great day today, but overall, I would say the quarterbacks have been a positive. Deebo Samuel, just the fact that Deebo would take the podium and tell everybody that he was awful in every way imaginable all of last year shows a level of accountability and desire to get to a next level that is really exciting because let's be honest, Deebo's a great player and he wasn't awful last year. But that he thinks he was awful and is vowing to be way better is a huge positive. So I guess you could say, it's a negative that he said he was awful, but that's just his own perspective and his own harsh critique and being a perfectionist. And that's how you get to be great is when you're damn good anyway, and you're never satisfied. So I look at that as a huge positive. Javon Hargrave is out there working out with his teammates, and wow, the power and the explosiveness that he shows, despite having just a huge lower half, huge thighs, huge lower half. He's obviously going to be a huge positive for them. Cameron Latou, the rookie tight end out of Alabama, and Braden Willis, the rookie tight end out of Oklahoma. Both those guys have made plays. And Latou made a play down the field. And Braden Willis is showing real good, aggressive ball skills and a lot of fight, that same fight that we saw at Oklahoma. Danny Gray looks ready to take off. I mean, his speed is off the charts. And there's a dynamic nature to Danny Gray that no other player on the field shows on either side of the ball. So Danny Gray's speed is electric, and he knows the offense better. I think he's ready to take off and have a huge, huge second year. Deshaun Jameson, in the first day of the minicamp, looked great. Today in the minicamp, day 2, he was phenomenal. 2 or 3 PBUs, breaks on the ball. He looks really good. Deshaun Jameson, I'll say it right now. Deshaun Jameson's going to make this team. Jair Brown, the rookie safety out of Penn State, every time I watch him, he's getting better and better and better. Jake Moody, he's a negative and a positive. Yesterday, he missed a 38-yard field goal. Today, he made one from 60. So he has been an overwhelming positive. Who else? Diamador. It's funny. He looks bigger and stronger, but it's really just in the upper body. He's put on some good upper body weight. He's stronger. He's going to be able to jam guys at the line. But he actually, when we talked to him, I said, "Hey, man, you look a little stronger, a little bigger." He's actually said, "I've lost weight." So that means that, he's dropped some bad weight and he's added some good weight. And Demo, I think, is going to be a real player. Ray McLeod today had a nice catch in the middle of the field and sprinted to the corner pylon. Ray looking explosive. I mentioned Jake Moody kicked a 60-plus yard field goal. He looked great. Jordan Mason looks fast and explosive and lean. Samuel Womack. This is why the 49ers are so freaking exciting, is that they got so many second-year players, and that's the biggest jump in the NFL personnel-wise, is what you do from year 1 to year 2, and Womack is ready for liftoff. I mean, Samuel Womack is flying around, making plays. He looks terrific. George Odom had a terrific pass defense in this afternoon practice today, where he knocked the ball out of the sky and closed on it nicely. Ty Davis-Price, second-year running back. Notice a theme here. We're talking about second-year players. Ty Davis-Price looked faster than ever. He looked really, really good. 3 rookies that stood out to me today. Ronald Awatt, the running back at a UTEP, they threw him a couple passes. It's not that he's catching them. It's the ease with which he's catching them. He looks very natural catching the football. Ronald Awatt, I can't wait to see him in July. Jalen Graham, the linebacker from Purdue, the 7th-round pick, really looks good. I mean, we're talking about a guy sprinting 40, 50 yards down the field. He's in great shape. He's rangy. You can if you watched him in college, he's an instinctive player. He ran 4.6, but when you watch him on the field, he plays like 4.5, and there's a difference. He looks good. He looks great. And I'll tell you, the guy who absolutely is my sleeper to watch for this summer, outside of Deshaun Jameson, is Spencer Wagee, the North Dakota State defensive end, defensive tackle. The get off, the motor, the hand placement, the activity, this guy's chasing plays down 35 yards down the field. Guy's got a great motor. He's quicker than you think. He's a little stronger than you think. I could see him playing first and second down base defensive end opposite Nick Bosa. I think you can play him at defensive end on first and second down as a run player. He'll set the edge. And then I think he also gives you a little bit of pass rush in as an interior rusher or as an outside rusher in a rotation. I don't think he's going to be a superstar rusher, but there's a lot to like. I mean, I can't believe this guy didn't get drafted. This guy's 300 pounds. He moves well. And the motor is off the charts. So just some of the good and bad from training camp. Mostly good. There was some bad, but it's mostly good. And the 49ers are loaded. And if you're a 49er fan, get ready for another great year, because the talent on this roster, they're stacked. They're really, really stacked. Tay Martin's stronger than ever. Ronnie Bell's got good ball skills. I thought Ray really showed well today. Danny Gray looks like he's ready to take off. So a lot of good options. A lot of good options at receiver. A lot of good options at running back. A little concerned about the depth at right tackle. They got a bunch of quarterbacks who all look pretty good. D-line, they're a little thin at D end. A little, but they're very deep at D tackle. They're loaded at linebacker. And there's some good young DBs. I mean, adding Jair Brown, Luter, Deshaun Jameson, all very positive. Now, they could be a little deeper at corner, I guess, maybe a little deeper at safety if you want it. But, I mean, there's a lot of young talent there. And then Jake Moody, I'll say this. Jake Moody's got a monster leg, huge leg. This guy's just absolutely going to crush the ball. But, there's going to be some inconsistency there. So get ready for some misses. There's going to be some missed field goals. I'm not saying he's spraying it or doesn't look good. He looks great. But just the nature of transitioning from college kicker to pro kicker, it's not a slam dunk. It's not always easy. So there's going to be some misses there. The one thing that we all have to recognize is that Robbie Gould was one of the most consistent kickers maybe in Niner history. He never missed in the playoffs. Now you're going to a rookie with a booming leg, but a rookie. And I'll just say this. I hope at the end of games in the first month of the year that Shanahan doesn't, get into the fourth quarter and play for a field goal, because there's a chance that they could, get to 38 yards out and, play for a field goal and get a little conservative and then lose a game because Moody kicks the crap out of it, but it's wide right. So there could be some bumps in the road with Moody, especially early in the year, but the leg strength is impressive to say the least. All right. Hope you enjoyed our 49er video, the good and the bad from 49er Minicamp. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueg Show. And thanks to all of you for supporting the Krueg Show on YouTube.